Uh, First off, your brother was in the Marines.
Correct.
Gary?
Gary.
His name is right?
Gary.
So what was he like growing up back when you guys were
Oh,
younger?
Gary was such a good kid. Generous, kind of heart,
Yeah.
loving, my mother's favorite.
Oh, really?
Out of 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see any comparisons with them when they were both growing up?
Well, 42-year span of time.
Right.
And my brother was 19 years of age when he passed.
Yeah.
That is such a kid in today's standards, now that I've surpassed that age.
Right.
You know, at 16, I thought I knew it all.
Right.
You look back in hindsight, 19 is a baby.
Right.
And 22 is as Matt was.
Right, yeah, so they both died,
Yeah.
died very, very young.
Very young.
So that must
Not a chance to live, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, you go through all the motions they tell you will, denial and, anger and grief, and you go through all of that. And when I learned of Matt's death, it was history repeating itself
Right.
again, and just total disbelief. I mean, how could it happen a second time around?
What was Matthew like before he went into the military? Has this always been a plan for him?
He really wasn't, he really didn't know where he was going, and he came to the decision he wanted to go into law enforcement.
Okay.
And without a college education, you really can't get into law enforcement. And the next best step would be the military, because of course they would accept you into law enforcement first, having the military background.
Was I know your sister was also in Army Reserve. Is that true?
No, she was an Army medic.
Medic. Okay.
Yeah.
So, was there a large family background of military service?
In my immediate family, yes. I had another brother who served in Vietnam, and the 4 of them, yeah.
So did that play a part in his decision at all, do you think, or was it just because he needed to find some?
No, with what was going on in the time, I'm sure that led him into the decision that he made to go forward with it. It's what you believe in at the time, this war was more accepted than the Vietnam War.
And so you said he wanted to get into law enforcement. Was that what he spent his time mostly focusing on? What was he like as growing up?
Oh, I remember we went to Washington, D.C., and we went to the Wall, my very first experience. And Matthew, it was an awesome experience for us all. He was just a good boy, just a good overall boy.
And so, being the good guy that he was, he wanted to help people.
Yes.
He wanted to
Yeah.
stop crime
Yeah.
and everything like that. So, moving forward, what was you and Matthew's relationship? You said you went on vacations with him and everything like that. Were you guys particularly close?
He lived in Boston area, and then his parents moved to the Cape. And it's not that accessible to drive, so we sort of distanced ourselves. Holidays, the usual family things, but.
Now, during the time that you did see Matthew, what was his best quality, the one that stuck out the most for him?
Boys and their mothers. Matthew loved his mother.
You did?
Yeah, Matthew loved his mother and his family.
Right.
And his family.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he was recently married and everything.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah.
So, what was your relationship with he and did you have a relationship?
Well,
with his wife at all?
we had gone to the wedding in July. He had a second wedding. When he was home on leave last December, he married Katie.
Okay.
And then no family members. It was just his father and, immediate family. Something he wanted to do before he got deployed the first time.
Okay.
And so they married, and then they came back home when he was on leave again, and I had a ceremony in July, which was very nice.
So it was important for him, for his entire family
to be there and sharing that day.
Good. And if your brother Gary was there, do you feel like they would have a relationship? Do you feel like were they similar at all?
They were similar.
They were.
They were similar.
So
in personality, yeah, the good guy.
That's good. No, that's great. And now, what was the military background with your brother Gary? I know there was obviously different circumstances with the Vietnam War as well.
He had spent 2 years in the military and went to Vietnam and never returned.
Right.
Yeah. This was entirely different because Matt did not die in war. It was ruled homicide. And who would ever believe that something of that nature would even occur?
Right, especially from someone.
It was the furthest thing from any of our mind that
that's the last thing
you think suicide before homicide.
And because the news broke that it was initially a combat death, and obviously I'm assuming, but some past memories from your brother may have possibly come back. Did that happen at all?
Yes. As soon as I heard the news, I relived my brother's death all over again. However, there was a difference in that being Matthew received such honor, and the people came out, and Vietnam, nobody came out, just your immediate group of people.
Yeah, the past Veterans Day,
oh my gosh, you know, in his hometown, unbelievable turnout of strangers that it was just so touching that to think these people stood on the sidewalk and waved flags and placed their hand over their heart for somebody they did not know. It was just the most moving experience.
And that hadn't happened with you?
No, not during, you know, you go by the home where you live, but there weren't, you know, all the recognition. People were being spat upon back then when you came home. So it was entirely different, and it almost made you feel as though, yes, it was worth a life given, you know. Recognition, importance, yeah.
With all of the attention that this has gotten, after you received word that they didn't report it correctly the first time and that it was a homicide, did you have to completely go through the process again?
You go to a different place again, once again,
and what was that place like?
One of reliving, and it's not closure. There is no closure, and there won't be any closure until, you know, this young man is brought on charges until he is tried, and then perhaps we can lay Matt to rest. But until now, you can't.
So the funeral already happened before you received word?
Oh, yes. It was a month after Matt was, you know, passed that we received word. And I am surprised that the military has owned up to this, because...
You didn't expect them to?
No, they sweep so much under the rug that they don't want you to know these things happen on their watch.
Would you prefer them to, obviously the family would like to know the actual way, but just for a recovery standpoint, would you have preferred just to go through it once?
Well, to lay it to rest, yes. To bring justice to it, no. Matt needs justice.
Absolutely.
He deserves justice. You know?
Everybody knows that this war has been going on for a very long time.
Yes.
Every single soldier.
It's sort of like another Vietnam. It can drag on and on and on. And where are we going? Where are we going?